Send us through the years, from east to western sea.
Far away, Canada, Eastern of the
Sorry,
great free.
sorry about that. I just want to change it. Hold on, hold on.
So free.
What's going on?
Oh, Canada, we stand on God for our home and native land. People and lost land, with glowing hearts we sing, we come rock and free. Our flags are white, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Keep our land, we are set free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard. Oh Canada, we stand on guard.
Is that good?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ojide. We are
Yes.
glad to be in Canada and we are proud of our Nigerian roots as well. So the topic of today's discussion is helping yourself through hard times. And I'm going to be discussing community resources and social services in Canada. I'm a social service worker and a lot of my work involves helping people through their hard times. And this is why I chose this topic, because I believe that some of us, if not all of us, will need to learn from this. Now, I have a question before we go on, and I'm going to give a prize to whoever gets it right. Today is a significant day internationally. Who can tell me what we're celebrating today, or what's significant about today's date? Can anyone tell me? Anyone?
International Migrants Day.
We are coming. No, give us 1 second.
We celebrate people who have migrated from one country to another country to live. And so today celebrates all of us, because I believe that all of us Nigerians here in Canada are migrants. Now, we're going to have some rules just so that everything is organized. And so we would like participants to stay muted. If you have a question, you can use the raise hand button, or you can type your questions and comments in the chat and I'll answer them. Also, I would like everyone to participate and have fun. So when we talk about hard times, what do we mean by hard times? Hard times can come in different ways. It can come in terms of crime, it can come in terms of unemployment, it could be mental health issues, it could be the loss of a loved one. Sometimes hard times can even be good things. You're moving to a new house, it's very stressful, but it's hard. You just had a baby, it's something to celebrate, but it's also very hard at the same time. So hard times are not always sad times. Hard times are not always bad things. Hard times can also be good. When we talk about hard times, most of the time,
You're mute, Miss Yinka. You're
Yeah,
mute.
we can't hear you.
You're mute.
having problems with the family,
You just
marriage.
got back. Miss Yinka,
Yes?
You're going in and out of mute, so be careful. I think you might be pressing something that's muting you without you knowing.
Maybe it's my earphones because I'm not even touching the computer. Maybe
Oh.
when can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so I was saying, hard times can be, most of us see them as challenging situations, and they can be personal or they can be general. Personal hard times, your health, you're not feeling too good. Financially, okay, things are down, issues with the family, and things like that can be considered personal hard times. Sometimes hard times are general. COVID-19, the pandemic, it has affected everyone, hard times for the whole world. Climate change, when it snows, for instance, is not one person that it affects when it snows, it affects everyone. If there's a tsunami or there's a tornado or there's some kind of natural disaster, it would affect everyone. Sometimes the economy is bad, that affects everyone. So hard times can be personal sometimes, and they can be general. But whether they are personal or they are general, we can pass through hard times and still live our lives conveniently. Now, I have a question, and I would like someone to answer from amongst the participants. Who can experience hard times? Who do you think can experience hard times?
Anybody and everybody.
Thank you very much. Who was that?
Ademola.
Jadesola, you are right. Anybody and everybody can experience hard times. So what do we do when hard times happen? We either react negatively or we react positively. It depends. It depends on your personality. It depends on the coping mechanisms that you have. It depends on even the people that you have around you. Some negative reactions can be blaming others. Oh, I lost my job because my boss does not like me. Oh, these Oyinbo people, they don't like us. That's why they did that to me. Aggression, violence, you know, you take it home, you take that hard time, you take it home to the family. You beat your children because you're not happy, not because the children offended you, but because things are not going the way you want it. Some people even resort to crime. Some people go into crime. Some people, they take consolation in addictions. Okay, when I'm drunk, I won't know what's going on. So I can drink, I can just take some substances and those hard times will go away. No, the hard times will not go away. The only thing is for that period that you are intoxicated, you will not remember. But when your eye clears, you will remember that the sakpa is still there. Who knows what sakpa means? So another way could be ignoring the issue. And when you ignore, it doesn't mean that that hard time is going away. It just means it's waiting for you and it might be getting bigger while you're ignoring. The worst reaction to hard times is giving up. Never, never give up. No matter what it is, no matter how bad it is, don't give up. Mr. Awojide, can you share the next poll, please?
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Thank you so much.
So the first poll, 86% of the guest people joining participated. So I'm going to end that.
Okay.
I'm sharing the results predominantly within Ontario and London or Southwest Ontario join.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop sharing that and I'm launching the second poll. Launch. Please, I would really appreciate everybody responding to the poll. They're very good for feedbacks for us. Over to you, speaker.
Okay, thank you. So asking that question, how long we've been in Canada, my reason for asking that
Muted again.
You have people around you. So when times are hard, you can go to your, in fact, if you can move to somebody's house, you know. Here, if you don't have, if you lose your accommodation, then you are homeless straight away. In Nigeria, if you don't have childcare, you can leave your child with your neighbor or your sister or your friend, or you can take your baby to the office if you work in some places. Here, if you don't have childcare, it means you're not working that day and you're not getting paid. So let's talk about positive reactions to our hard times. The first thing is to accept reality and analyze the issues. What does that mean? First thing is you must know that this is a hard time. Analyzing the issue now, is this something that has a solution? Is it something that does not have a solution? Okay, I've lost my job. Yeah, but do I have at least something to pay this month's rent? Do I have some food to cope until I find another job? That's where the analysis comes in. You start to think, how do I cope with this? Expressing your emotions. Okay, you've accepted that it's a hard time, but then you are going to feel a certain way as a human being. If you want to cry, it's okay. If you want to talk about it, it's okay. You know, it's important to talk. Don't bottle it up. But who are you talking to? Loved ones. When you have problems, it's not, you don't just talk to random people about it. You talk to people who love you, who understand what you're going through, who will not give you the wrong advice or push you into crime or push you into some.
You're mute.
Prod, health checks.
But I'm not using, sorry, was someone talking to me?
Yes, you were on mute, but you're back again now. Just
Honestly, I don't know what is muting this thing.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
no problem.
So in social work, we refer to mindfulness as acknowledging your present state, knowing what you're going through and acknowledging that thing, whether it's good or bad. But I'm not talking about the social work aspect of mindfulness. The aspect of mindfulness that I'm talking about, because we're Nigerians, I know that most of us are religious people. The aspect of mindfulness I'm talking about is accepting that, oh, I mean, the creator, God, is aware of this thing I'm going through and it will not last. Okay, that's the poll. It's not something that will be there forever. God is aware, God knows, you know. So if you believe in God, talk to God. Another thing you should do when you're going through hard times is seek help. It's very important because that's the only way to move out of your hard times. You have to be able to ask for help. And I'm going to be talking about places where
You're mute again.
So if you're somebody that you like dressing nicely, you like fashion.
Hello? 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 Speaker? Miss
I
Yinka?
hear you.
Miss Yinka? Miss Yinka?
Yes?
You went on a long mute.
Oh my God. I don't know what is causing this mute.
Can you disconnect the earphone? Just speak directly, use the mic and the camera.
Okay, I'm going to do that. But you couldn't hear me when I was using the mic, and that's why I decided to use this. But let me try that.
Okay, try that because it's going in and out, in and out.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And you know, when you're speaking, speech is really the most important thing, right? Even if we don't see audio, speech is, if we don't see visual, speech is the most important thing.
Mr. Ojimi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
We've lost her again.
I know. So that's the bittersweet of technology. You know, it's good when it works for you, but
Technology is giving me hard times today.
okay. Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, I hope it doesn't go on mute again.
Okay, perfect.
So I don't even know the last thing that people heard, so that I know where to continue from. Okay.
Yeah, you were talking about religion. Kindly mute your somebody.
You're talking about mindfulness.
I can't hear that person. I'm sorry, what did you say?
You were actually talking about mindfulness, and for some people who believe in religion, you can actually pray when you're going through a lot.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I've said a lot after that. I'm going to have to go back. It's sad that this thing went muted. Thank you so much. Okay, so mindfulness, yes. Acknowledging that if you're religious, you're creative.
We lost you again. Am I the only one?
Hello, Yinka.
You're not the only one, it's actually cutting out. Yeah,
Hello,
you know,
Yinka.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you please use a headset or no? Yeah.
I'm using a headset. Maybe it's the headset that has issues.
So let's do this. Let's do this. Just
Can you use a wired one instead of wireless?
yeah, maybe she doesn't have wired, right? So speaker, Miss Yinka,
Yes,
do
please.
your cell phone, if you connect to Zoom via your cell phone,
Okay.
send your deck to me. I'll present it via my laptop, my desktop. Then you speak through the phone. Obviously, 100%, I'm sure the phone will be more stable.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So just email the deck to me and I'll share it. Then connect to the Zoom. Don't disconnect from here. Connect to the Zoom from your phone.
Okay.
Make sure that the audio is working very well. Then we take it up from there.
All right.
So while that is going on, the second poll, 59% came back 0 to 3 years, 59%. So we have a lot of young Canadians here in the country. Then between 3 and 5 years, that's 12%. Then 5 to 10 years, that's 18%. More than 10 years, 12%. So we can see that we have a very young, less than 10 years predominantly on this call. I want to use the opportunity to welcome you to the land of opportunities. Welcome to Canada. It's winter. If this is your first winter, embrace yourself for it. I never liked winter and I don't think I'll like it. I've tried to embrace it several times. I've learned ice skating. I'm close to my 50. I was able to learn ice skating. I think I broke the record. I'm the first first person from my village to know how to do ice skating. I'm from Ikiri, Osun State. I know they don't do ice skating.
They don't have snow there. They don't have snow there. So
yeah. So have you sent the email?
yes, I just sent it.
Okay, let me quickly pull that out. You sent it to my Gmail or my Yahoo? Yeah, my Gmail.
Gmail.
Okay. So you can, are you connecting through your phone?
Yes, I'm going to connect through my phone in a second. Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault, it's technology.
Oh. Part of the hard times we're talking about.
Yes. Okay, let me send it, speaker, Miss Yinka, do you give me the go ahead to send this third poll?
Yes, please. Yes,
Let me
please.
launch that so we keep our guests. So I've sent the third poll, kindly respond. Pulling out your deck right now. Download. I'll just even use this from the internet. So you can stop sharing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've not seen you connected from the phone yet. So let me start sharing. If everybody can see my screen, let me know. I could really appreciate the feedback. I think she's right here. This is where she is right now.
Okay, so can people hear me? This is Yinka.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. And your slide when hard times happen.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't bother with the phone because my husband is logged in, so I'm just gonna speak from his computer.
But there's an
So
echo.
I think
There's an echo. You need
there's an echo.
You need to mute what you have on your laptop, on your desktop.
Okay, let's see.
So FYI, whenever you have a echo, that means your mic is connected from 2 different places.
Okay, maybe I've not logged out of the other one.
Hello?
Is it good now?
Perfect. 100%.
Okay. So, yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll just continue from mindfulness because I think that's the last thing that people heard. So mindfulness, acknowledging that your creator or God knows what you're going through and that those hard times will not last. Now, it's important to talk to your loved ones when you're going through tough times because they can give you support. But if you don't have loved ones or you think that your loved ones will not understand, there are also resources. There are people who are paid to listen to you that you can talk to and that will be able to guide you through those hard times. They don't provide solutions, but they can help you reflect and see how you can get help. Seeking help is also important, and I will tell us about a number of places where we can get help from. Self-care. Self-care is very important, and self-care means the things that you would normally do to take care of yourself. Don't stop doing them because you're going through hard times. Eat, exercise, dress well. If you like dancing or if there are things that you normally do to make yourself happy, continue to do them to the best of your ability so that your mental health remains intact even while you're going through these hard times. Now, who can get help and where can I find help? Now, as of today in Canada, everybody who is a resident of Canada has access to community resources. These are people, places, activities, and structures that can provide assistance or support to community members. So as long as you belong to the community, a resident of this country, in Ontario, in London, in Canada, different places, then you have access. And I'm going to give you examples of what I mean. Anyone can go to the library. The library is a community resource. Anyone can go to the park.
The park is a community resource. There are some community resources that are paid. So not all community resources are free. But even though they're paid, as long as you have your money, they're available to you. Even NALA, for instance, is a community resource because it's available to all Nigerians who are in Canada or people who want to associate with Nigeria. The African stores, they're community resources. If you want to connect with Nigerians and you go to the African store, by the time you go once, twice, 3 times, trust me, you will meet Nigerians. Mr. Awojide, can you scroll back up a little bit? Because I can't see. Yeah, that's the one I want. Thank you. Now the social services, and we normally tend to mix them up, the community resources and the social services. The community resources are things generally, or people or places. Back home, we have lots and lots of community resources. One grandma in the area that offers to take care of your children for you. She's a community resource. The guy that washes your car, he's a resource because he's helping you. The thing that we don't have, or we don't have enough of back home that we have here, and we should be able to use to the best of our ability, is the social services. Most people get scared when they hear about social services because the aspect of social services that most people know is child welfare. And they think, oh, they're going to take my children away from me. Oh, they're going to put me in trouble. There's a lot more involved in social services beyond the child welfare aspect of social services. Social services can help when you lose a loved one. They can help when you lose your job. They can help when, God forbid, if anyone is homeless. If there's so many situations where the social services can help. Most times, social services are open to the disadvantaged. When we say disadvantaged, it can mean a couple of things. It can mean low income. It can mean someone who is going through domestic violence. It can mean a person who is a victim of crime or a sexual assault, or someone who has medical concerns. So basically, someone who is going through one form of hard times or the other. Now, the difference between social services and community resources is that most times the social services are free. You don't pay anything, and they are mainly provided by the government. Can I have the next slide, please? And then we can take the next poll, please. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Yinka,
Yes?
which slide? Am I on the right slide?
Can you go up one more time? Let me just see that, please. Up, please, like backwards. Okay, yes, how to get access. That's the one I need. Thank you. So there are different community resources and social services that can help us. And this is the part where this presentation becomes interactive, because there are so many and I could not possibly cover all of them today. I've just put examples, but if you have particular concerns or it's something that you want to talk about in private, you can reach out to me, but I will be taking questions after I go over this slide. So for loss of income and employment, we have the employment services, we have EI, that's the employment insurance, we have Ontario Works. For loss of a loved one, and I pray that all our loved ones live long, and none of us experiences this, but it's part of life to lose a loved one. And so when a person loses a loved one, there are so many resources that they offer, right from the hospital, from the funeral services, and basically they are there to, number one, if you need people to take care of children, if you have children, people to stay with you, because some people, of course, when they lose a loved one and they are the only one living with that person, they cannot sleep alone, they can't sleep in that house. So they provide services to support that person while they are grieving, and even as the grieving process continues. Childcare, there are many resources for childcare. For people who qualify for the income cutoff, there's the child care subsidy. I'm sure a lot of us know about that. If you want to know how to apply, just look online for the child care subsidy for whatever city you're in. For London, I know it's the City of London. For other cities, just Google the name of your city and put childcare subsidy in front, you'll find it. Now, child development, that's one that is very dear to me because people speak to me about that every day. So you have a child, the child is not walking on time, or this boy is 3 years old, he's not talking, or you're having issues with diaper, toilet training. Oh, he's 3 years old, he's still using a diaper. Oh, she's 4 years old, she's still using a diaper. All these things, you have workers who can help you, come to your house. If your child goes to daycare, connect with the daycare, and they can guide you through the development of your child. If that child needs medical or psychological intervention, they are there to provide that and refer you to the right resources. Another way is to discuss with your family doctor, and they will make referrals for your child. Medical and dental services. Now, for people who are permanent residents or citizens, we have the OHIP, and that's the Ontario Health Insurance. So most medical procedures are free under OHIP. Dental services are not free, but if you fall under the income cutoff, and you have children, your children can benefit from the Healthy Smiles. Healthy Smiles is free dental care for children under 18. Now, mental health. I know that as Nigerians, many of us do not like to talk about mental health. Some of us even see it as a spiritual issue. But I would like to say this as a social service worker. Mental health is just like your physical health. The only difference is that you cannot see the symptoms, you can only feel them. So if you're having thoughts about hurting yourself, or every day you just feel depressed, sad, you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to go out, your heart is racing, you feel scared without anything actually scaring you, these are things to discuss. You can discuss with your family doctor if you have one. If you don't have a family doctor, there are many numbers that you can call. Just enter mental health support in Google. Google is our friend, our very good friend, especially since we moved to this side of the world. Enter mental health, or just say mental health support, and you will see so many resources that can support you, that can provide support for you. Public health. Public health is also another one that is very important. For public health issues, and I'll tell you what the public health issues are. For public health issues, you don't even need to have a family doctor. And what are public health issues? Public health issues are health issues that affect the whole community. COVID, for instance, is a public health issue. So if you have COVID, you don't need a family doctor to get treated. You just go, just let them know, and you will see the speed at which you'll be treated. Sexually transmitted diseases, STDs or STIs, sexually transmitted infections, are also public health issues because they can spread fast, especially with people who have multiple partners. And so in the London area, I know that there's the London Middlesex Health Unit. And if you have any concerns with your sexual health, reach out to them. Also for prophylaxis and family planning. So for the ladies amongst us, you want to do IUD, you want to do the child spacing inserts or injections, just reach out to public health. It's also better because it's cheaper. Sometimes it's even free. If you go to your family doctor, you might have to pay for some of those family planning methods and pay heavily too. If you go to public health, it's next to nothing. Divorce and custody issues. I have so many clients going through this one. Divorce and custody issues can be handled by the family services or family court services. If you Google family court, you'll see the places close to you that can handle divorce and custody issues. Now, for any of these, if you have questions, you can reach out to me after the webinar, and I will guide you as much as I can. For domestic violence and sexual assault. Now, domestic violence is also something that has a peculiar way of affecting us as Nigerians, because the definition of domestic violence in Nigeria is a little bit different from the definition of domestic violence here. So domestic violence in Nigeria, most of the time we consider it beating, battery, when the husband beats the wife or when the wife beats the husband. Here, domestic violence is wider as a topic. Shouting at you, depriving you of income, not allowing you to practice your religion freely. All these things are considered domestic violence. Immigration is also a big one in Canada. Canada is very welcoming to immigrants, and they have the immigration refugees, I forget what it's called now. It's IRCC anyway. If you Google IRCC, there are different ways of, I know that as Nigerians, we always get questions from people back home. How can I come to Canada? How can I? There are so many resources on the IRCC website. We also have settlement services for people who are just arrived. The settlement services are very useful for things like helping you to register for benefits, helping you with your taxes, all the things that you wouldn't know as a newcomer. And speaking with settlement services, they've actually said that they don't get many Nigerians because we come from a country where English is an official language. When we get here, it's easy for us to navigate. For people who don't come from countries where they speak English, they use settlement services very heavily. However, settlement services are very useful, even for us. Even though we speak English, there's so many things that you wouldn't know as a newcomer, and settlement services will help you with those things for free. Gender and sexuality. Now, as Nigerians, the LGBTQ+ community is not very big back home. It's a big community here, and so if anyone belongs to that community, needs help, there are resources that you can reach out to who will guide you and provide the support that you may need. Now for the community resources, and I went to community resources after because community resources are very wide, and because they're paid, I don't want it to be as if I'm promoting somebody's business or helping people to advertise. For clothing, there are actually places that give out clothing for children, and these ones are free. Winter clothing. There's a program called Coats for Kids. So if maybe things are a bit tough and you can't afford to buy boots, coats, snow pants, all those things for your children, there's a program called Coats for Kids. If you Google Coats for Kids, the coats starts with letter K. If you Google Coats for Kids, it will come up, and then you can apply and get coats for your children. It's run by the Boys and Girls Club, which is an NGO in London. We also have food banks. The food banks provide free food on a monthly basis. Now, there are two types of food banks. There's the central food bank, which requires that you prove that you are low income. So you can't just go there and collect free food. you must be able to show that you cannot afford the food. We also have the neighborhood food banks. Neighborhood food banks are not particular about your income, but they don't give as much as the central food bank gives. You can find educational resources in the libraries, in the schools. If you're a newcomer, it's also very important to ask and you have children, to ask in your children's school about the settlement worker. Most schools have settlement workers, and they will help your child to settle into the school because it's a new environment and things might be different for that child. And a lot of children struggle. You know, we don't know because sometimes they don't tell us at home, but a lot of children struggle with that change in environment. Recreational services. So some of us, like Mr. Awojide said the other time, that he learned to ski. There's so many activities that we can learn. Swimming, table tennis, skiing, hockey, and these things, if you go to the community centers, most of them are actually free. However, it's for a certain income cutoff. So if you are rich and you can afford it, you might not need the free ones. But if you know that you need it, please go to the community center and ask about recreational services and how you can register for them. In London, it's called Play Your Way. They have different names in other cities in Ontario, but I'm focusing on London today because this program is based in London. Newcomer services, I spoke about the settlement centers before, and the newcomer services are provided in the settlement centers. Employment services, okay, so there's Employment Ontario, and there are other places that help with resumes and just generally preparing you for a job, helping you to write your resume, doing mock interviews for you. Even some of them will provide you with clothes. If you don't have appropriate clothes to attend an interview, they will provide these for you. I know there is the Access Center. I know there's also Will. There's Goodwill, and there are a couple of other ones that you can look up. Parks and gardens. So in the summer, I know all of us enjoy going to the park. We don't have to pay anything for going into the parks. There are community resources that we can all enjoy. Religious and spiritual. So a lot of us like to connect with people of similar religions. I know that there are a couple of Nigerian churches in London, Ontario. I also know that there are general Anglican, Catholic, other churches that you can also attend. For the Muslims, we have a couple of mosques in London who also provide support if you're going through a hard time in terms of like food, childcare. So if you speak with people who work in these religious institutions, they provide that support to you. And even for things like food, if you let them know, because because people are, how do I put it? People sometimes feel shy to request for help. So it's always a discreet thing, making these requests. But if you speak with someone who works there, they will be able to help you. And ethnic communities. So different communities for various ethnicities exist. We have Black London Connect, which is like Black people connecting in London. We have the Indian community, we have the Nigerian community, we have the Arab. There are different Arab communities because not all Arabs come from the same country. And there are many, 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 many others. At this point, I think there's a poll that Mr. Awojide wants to share.
Pardon?
Is there a poll that you want to share? I see people asking about a poll.
Yeah, I sent out a poll, and it seems as if there was a little glitch in Zoom. The results are out. The question was, how challenging would it be say life in Nigeria was. Very, very challenging, 44%, moderately challenging, 44%, not challenging, 0%, indifferent, 13%.
Okay.
So
Okay, I see now.
do you want me to launch the next one, or I should hold off?
Yeah, if you can launch the next one, and then let's take questions, please.
Okay, perfect. Number 5. So over to you, Ms. Yinka.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions?
So I have a question.
Okay.
So a few weeks back, one of my friends called me and said, "Yeah, little problem with his child.
Okay.
His child wasn't behaving very well in school.
Okay.
And the teachers kept on complaining. How do you advise that kind of father to deal with the child, to correct the child?"
Okay, thank you. And I get that question a lot. In fact, this week, I think I dealt with 4 or 5 cases relating to something like that you just spoke about. So the first thing is, do you know the age of that child? Mr. Ojide?
I think the child is like 5 or 6 years old.
5 or 6 years old. Okay, so perfect. Now, that child is still very young and so still very impressionable. A lot of, especially children that we bring from home, they realize when we get here that the method of discipline has changed. And because of that, when they get to school, they feel a certain kind of freedom because their teachers don't discipline in the way that we as Nigerians discipline. And so they tend to disobey or not listen to their teachers. Now, the first thing I would advise that person to do is acknowledge, respond to the teacher and say, "Thank you for letting me know. We will continue to encourage so whatever the child's name is to interact positively in school, and then there will be a lot of talking to that child." As we know, spanking is not encouraged in this country. So if you are spanking your child, please take it easy. So we will talk to that child, and there are also resources in the school that can help the child. So depending on how that child is behaving, if, for instance, that child is hitting other children or not listening in class, or whatever the case is, there are resources within the school. The school has social workers. Now, I would like us not to be, a lot of people get scared when they hear that word social worker. I'd like us not to be scared of social workers. They're not scary people. They're not, people always think social workers will get you in trouble. A lot of times social workers are just providing support. And when you avoid their services, sometimes that's when you might get in trouble, because when it's easier to nip things in the bud when they just start than for the thing to get bigger. Sorry, excuse me. So I would advise that person to speak, have a one-on-one with the child's teacher and connect with that teacher on a more personal level so that they know what exactly the child is doing, and then they can work on it from there. Does anyone have any other questions?
Please don't be shy. It's open forum. The camera, you
Okay,
don't have to, you don't have to put on your camera to ask the question.
you don't have to on your camera, so I would love to see your faces, but if you don't want to show me your face, that's fine.
So, Speaker,
Yes.
I know divorce custody issue should be a topic on its own.
I believe so.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
We've noticed a trend of increase in divorce rate
Yes.
within the Nigerian community, especially for new immigrants coming in all of a sudden within a year, 2 years.
Sorry, can
Yes.
we do something about the echo? Can we do something about the echo? please?
Who is echoing inside? Is it me?
I don't know where the echo
It's
is
in both
coming
ways because I can hear my own voice too being echoed.
from. No, your voice is not echoed right now.
Okay, it's better now.
It's better now. I think it is better.
Thank
now.
you. Please continue.
Yeah. So my question is, divorce rates is increasing within the Nigerian community. There was even this TVC, The View. They even spoke about it in Nigeria and predominantly Canada, to be surprised. So is there a reason for this trend?
Is there a reason for the trend? That's your question.
Correct.
Okay. So it's very similar to the issue of your friend's child that we were just talking about. And most of the time, it's because the rules have changed. You know, Yoruba people say that where there are no rules, there are no offenders. So when the rules become lax or the rules are different from the rules that you're used to, then you tend to behave a certain way. And so I speak not only as a social worker, but as a woman. A lot of times back in our home community, the woman's voice is not, or rather the woman doesn't have the louder voice in marital issues. You know, most of the time, the man's opinion takes precedence. And so in this community, it's different. And a lot of the rules are like, you have to do this together, you have to do this together, you have to do this together. And when, you know, the person is not used to that from the beginning, especially for the men, it becomes an issue. Another thing is the gender roles. Back home, you might have people helping with the chores, with picking children from school, with all of those things. And most of the time, the men are focused on bringing in income to the family, while the women are focused on the domestic chores and the raising of children and doing all of that. Here, we don't really have domestic help, neither do we have family helping. So most of the time, all hands have to be on deck. Some men are not comfortable with that. Some men are not comfortable with doing domestic work. And some women become, they start to show resentment. They start to feel bitter because they're doing all the work, they're overstressed, they still have to go to work, they still have to do this domestic chores. And there is built-in anger, and that starts to bring about issues in the marriage. Does that answer your question, Mr. Ojide?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Please, I'm just wondering, some people may be too shy. Okay, we are still having echo. So what I was
I can hear you clearly, sir. I don't hear any echo.
Okay, maybe it's on my own side.
Okay, okay.
Anyway, what I was saying is that maybe some people are a bit too shy to ask some questions. Is
Yes.
there a way of communicating with you directly after this session so that people can ask their
Okay,
questions?
I'm going to, okay, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Would that help? I know that some of these questions are very personal, and so they are not questions that people can ask in public. So that's my email address. I'm also putting my phone number there, although most of the time I don't take calls, but you can drop me a message on WhatsApp if you have. Yeah, so that's my phone number and my email address. So in the absence of any other questions, I would just like to encourage all of us to seek help when we need it. We are together in all of this. We're all in the same community, and there are so many places to get help. And so we should not wallow in self-pity when things are going wrong. Instead, we should reach out, ask for this help. If you don't know where to find the help, reach out and we can do it together, you know. Like they say, happiness is not the lack of problems, it's the inability to deal with them. So let's deal with those problems together and let's stay happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yinka. Now, the poll result for question 5, what is your major challenge with life here? Loneliness or boredom, 42%. Unemployment or low income, 50%. Marital issues, domestic violence, 8%. Cultural clash and lack of connection, 25%. That's good. That's really, what do you think about that? Do you want to talk to that, Ms. Yinka? Are you there? Maybe you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm muted. I said these can all be topics on their own. You know, unemployment is a big topic. I know your last webinar dealt with how to find a job. But before finding a job, how to deal with the low income, because most of the time when you don't have a job, then your income is low. So the aspect of dealing with low income is a topic on its own, and it might be a topic to discuss another day. The loneliness or boredom part too is definitely a topic to be discussed. Cultural clash and lack of connections. And this is why we have things like this. I know there are so many groups and so many associations for people from different cultures. I know in just at the end of summer, there was this get together that NALA had. And so these are places where you can connect with people from your home country, people with similar culture to you. It also makes sense to make friends with people from other cultures. We shouldn't just stick with, we have a lot to learn from other people. And so we should not just stick with people that come from our country. It's important to mix. That's why we're here. You know, we're not here to just stick with our fellow Nigerians alone.
Yeah, awesome. If you don't mind, I would like to talk to the unemployment. I'm echoing. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely, it's something to discuss. Definitely.
Yeah. So last week, someone called me and said, based on the webinar that I hosted, he landed a job. And it goes back to, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so
Yes, we hear you.
so last week someone landed a job based on the tips that he got from the How to Land a Job webinar.
That's
And,
awesome.
and that's one of the reasons why we can learn from each other by hosting these webinars, sharing ideas, sharing our experience, and other people can learn from me to succeed. And I like the points that you raised about trying to connect with other people outside the Nigerian community. I could remember I got laid off some time back, and I have this Indian family friend. She came over and we were just talking. I said, I lost my job. And she said, oh, they're looking for somebody in this department. Let me give them a call. To cut the long story short, I got that job.
There you go.
So, I can resonate with what you said. I can truly connect with it. So let me send another poll. I think we have about 2 more polls left.
Yeah. And we lost a bit of time with the technical issues that we were having.
I know.
So yeah, you can check those polls. Okay.
So I really like your presentation. Really appreciate all the insights you've been able to provide.
Thank you.
So is there, I'm just going through all your slides right now.
There's a resource I wanted to share with us.
Okay.
It's a handbook. They normally have it at the city office, at the city hall, and most community centers have copies. And that's actually where I got the name of this presentation. It's called Help Yourself Through Hard Times, and it has a comprehensive list of all the resources and social services that you can, well, not all, but many of them that you can find in London, Ontario. And most cities across Ontario have similar resources. So if anyone needs it, if you can go to the community center close to you and ask for a copy of that, they renew it, I think, yearly. So the most recent one might be 2020. You know, most times it gets updated. So the 2021, if you can look for a copy for yourself, it's useful to have. Even if not for yourself, when you know someone that needs the kind of help, you can just refer them and tell them where to go. I don't know if there are online copies. I'll try to see if there's like a PDF copy that we could share.
Awesome. So the polls are coming back.
Okay.
7% has participated. We were waiting for 8 more feedbacks. Let's just give a minute for others to do that. So no question. Okay, let's not ask for questions. Is there any contributions from the audience?
So the last poll that just posted, maybe if there's something others, so we can put our own idea.
Okay, you can put your ideas in the chat, I believe. So if there's any topic that you would like us to go over, I think we can have that in the chat and then see.
I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to end this poll and go to the last one.
Okay.
So end poll. The question is, which of these topics would you like to attend a webinar on? Childcare, 27%. Yes. Marital issue, 36%. Library services, 8%. Food alternative for Nigerians, 64%.
Wow.
That's all we like to.
We love food, I know.
Nigerian
Oh,
love
I
food.
I love food.
I want to share a very funny experience. So, you know, when you are at work, and they usually say, hey, let's go for coffee, let's go and hang out. And I decided to follow them on. So they took us to a Chinese restaurant. And I kept on wondering, I don't eat pork because I'm Muslim. And I just want to know what I'm putting in my stomach, just in case something goes wrong. So I kept on asking questions. What is this? What's inside it? Okay, this is fish, this is that. And they said, oh, this is pepper. I said, well, I like pepper. So, but I didn't know it was kind of pepper that you shouldn't use too much of it. I used a lot, and you can imagine what happened to me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so good results back from the poll. So let me run the last poll. Stop. And the last poll. Okay, perfect. So I've sent out the last poll. I appreciate your feedback. So we really had a lot of people joining. We had over 20 people joining the call.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, the feedbacks are coming. Those are 62%. Miss Yinka, are you thinking of running for MPP?
That's a very funny question. Now, may I ask why you asked me that?
You have, I think a lot of people really appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Am I the first person?
I'm not
to do that?
No, and that's why I asked if there's a reason why. Maybe there's something on my face that says politics too, because I get that question quite often.
Okay. So,
But I've not considered it.
all right. So thank you so much for coming, taking time out. I know it's a Saturday. Thank you for coming up with this presentation and following it through. The turnout has been awesome. Let's continue to have these webinars. The next webinar will be the last Saturday of January. We will communicate this out as usual. And our next speaker will be communicating out the person very soon. Having said that, Paul came back. Kindly rate the value of this webinar. 27% seems very good. 27% said And 45% said excellent.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're very sorry
Thank you, Mr.
about
Awodide.
we're very sorry about the technical glitch. Kindly bear with us. It's technology. We will try to make it better as we move along.
Yes.
Do you want to do a closing remark, Mr. Yinka?
Sorry, I'm jumping in. Before the closing remark, I actually have a little question, please.
Okay.
Okay, so this goes to you. Thank you very much, Yinka. And same goes to Mr. Awojide as well. We know where we connect. Thanks a lot. Please, I just want to ask, is it possible we have like a repository of some of these contacts so that we can drop them in the NALA, social services, child care, blah, blah, blah. But, something like a simple one-stop shop. Okay, contact this number or this, that. Just as a first-time check. For someone like me, if I need any of this service now, I would rather have reached out to those. And if I feel I still need something further, I might then take the trouble of disturbing you. But I wouldn't want to be disturbing you every other moment if I know something within that list is something I could easily reach out without having to pester your number. My suggestion.
Thank you very much, sir. Absolutely. I'm sure that I can compile like commonly requested phone numbers and contact details of these community resources and social services and put it in the WhatsApp groups.
Thank you so much. So can you give us your closing remark and we can wrap this up?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Awojide, for being a lifesaver when we were having technical difficulties. It just wanted to prove to us that hard times can happen at any time. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you to NALA for organizing this webinar. It's very educative, and it's important that we keep connecting like this so that we can learn from each other. So I would like to thank you all for joining in, participating, getting polls. I'm going to keep my prize for myself because nobody knew that today was International Migrants Day. So I'll just take a prize. So thank you all very much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and I hope you enjoy the holidays. Have a very happy holiday and we will connect again in January at the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Awojide.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.